Hello there. So, some more information today about the planet Uranus this time. Now, 2025 has been quite an interesting year in the sense that so many of the big outer planets shifted signs. So, of course, the planets are always moving and shifting, but when this many planets do it in the same year, it is really significant. So, as a lot of these planets have only just moved into the early degrees of new signs and they're slow moving planets, they move in, and then as soon as the retrograde period comes up, which they all annually go through, they start to go back to where they were before, into the sign of the zodiac that they've been in for the last 7, 5, 10 years, whatever it's been. So today I'm going to talk to you about the planet Uranus, which takes 7 years to move through a sign of the zodiac. So he moved into Gemini a couple of months ago, and so now it's time for him to go retrograde. So his first stage of his retrograde will be in Gemini, and then the second stage will be in Taurus. So Uranus will station retrograde in Gemini from the 9th of November 2025 until the 4th of February 2026. And during that time frame, he goes Gemini and then back into Taurus. And then when he turns direct again on the 4th of February next year, he will be again in Taurus until he moves into Gemini very quickly after that. So when Uranus goes retrograde, now Uranus is the planet of change and independence. And he's the planet that kind of keeps us on our toes. Because he takes 7 years to move through a sign of the zodiac, I kind of see him as the 7 year itch planet. He's always keeping us aware of change, and that change is the only constant, and we've got to learn to go with that rather than resist it. So, of course, when he goes retrograde, it's like the foot comes off the accelerator. We don't have to keep going at 100 miles an hour. We don't have to keep doing new things and changing and being innovative and all of that stuff going on. We get to actually take a breath and take a deep breath in and just relax a little bit. So while he's in Gemini, Gemini energy, of course, is the busiest sign of the zodiac. So when Uranus is in Gemini, it's all going on. So it's going to be a very busy next 7 years for everybody. So these retrograde periods that we're going to have, we get for around about 5 months every year, will be a real sign of relief, where you can just actually take a breath and take a step back for a little bit of time. So, while Uranus has been in Gemini, Gemini is the planet, is the sign of the zodiac that brings lots of opportunity. It loves variety, it loves stimulation, it's very curious, it's all about communication, it's all about travel and movement, all of those sorts of things. So, when he goes retrograde, he slows down all of those things and asks us to look inside in a different way. So, it's a time for us to think about all these things that have been presented to us, all these opportunities that we may have, or opportunities for change, for moving, for different careers, whatever's going on, all of these opportunities that have been presented to us, we get to be a whole lot more discerning. Now, when he's in direct motion, we try to be discerning then, because you can't do everything that's presented to you. But it's sort of, because it's action motivated, it's hard to be discerning when you're sort of on the go all the time. So when he goes retrograde, it's much easier to take a step back and look at all these things that have presented themselves to you that you might be working on or are just sitting in the background, and decide for yourself, are these the things I want to move forward with once Uranus goes direct? And so, it's a great time to really look at all of those different things that are going on around you that you either want to be involved in or are just presenting themselves, and really decide, is this going to work for me? Is this what I want to put my energy into? And Gemini energy, of course, is the planet of communication. Sorry, the sign of the zodiac that is all about communication. And so when he's in retrograde, we're also reevaluating how we communicate. So with the Uranus and Gemini, one of the big things that this is going to bring over the next 7 years is new ways of communication between everybody. So this is where the AI stuff will come in, where more internet stuff will come in, where more intuition will come in, and the ability to communicate more without words. And this is something I think that we've been evolving towards for a very long time. I sort of think that when we look at language, the English language, I'll use it as an example. We've gone down the road of everybody texts everybody all the time. And so what a lot of people, especially the younger generation, are doing is they're abbreviating all of the words that we used to sort of spell out in full. They've abbreviated all of them, so they're shortening things. So this almost feels like the more time goes on, the less words we're going to use, and the more we're going to communicate by feelings, by knowings, and by telepathy. This is what I feel will happen moving forward in the future. So, while Uranus is in retrograde, it's a great time to explore that part of yourself, to really look at your intuition and get a better idea of feeling into things. And when you're getting communications from spirit, from people around you without spoken words, and just the way you're feeling things, when you can kind of feel a reaction from someone, or you feel the mood somebody might be in, and exploring that a bit further to see how much more insight it can give you into yourself, into the people around you, and into situations that you find yourself in. So, the once he moves, it retrogrades all the way back into Taurus, we'll be re-looking at how we ground ourselves and how we get along with other people and how we become a part of things. Uranus is a fairly independent or a very independent planet, but Taurus likes to work alongside people. It's an earth sign. It likes to be a part of things. It likes to get its hands dirty. It likes to get involved with a hands-on way. So when Uranus retrogrades back into Taurus, it's sort of asking us, what new things can you explore? What other things can you develop that you might have worked on a little bit so far, but that could use a little bit more help, a little bit more work from you? So you're being asked to ground yourself and your ideas in reality. So, the ideas and the concepts, all these things that have been presented to you, when Uranus is in Taurus, you can go and have a look at, okay, how can I actually make that happen? How's that going to work? What do I need to put in place? What hard work and sort of steps do I need to put into place to achieve this once the energy goes direct and I can start moving on it again? So it's a bit of a time to get your ducks in a row and have a look at, all those things that have been presented to you and ascertain for yourself which ones are going to work and which ones aren't. And you can kind of play around with things. Like I said, when a planet's in retrograde, it's not a time to take action on that energy. It's more a time to evaluate what you're going to do next or what you've been doing. So, but you can dabble a little bit. You can have a try at it to just see, does this work? I've had this idea in my head, but I've never done anything more with it than think about it. So maybe I could just try it a little bit, and just see, is this going to work for me? Or is this just a dream? Or is this just an idea that I'm either not ready for or is just not for me in this lifetime? So Uranus retrograde, I think, will be a good rest for a lot of us. Uranus in Gemini is full on. I mean, Uranus is the planet of change, and Gemini constantly changes all the time, and so it's really amping up all of that energy, and we all need a break from that. So although the retrograde periods can be challenging because they make us go within and maybe look at those things that we've been burying or not wanting to talk about or not wanting to deal with, so that those things are brought to the surface. And so with that Taurus energy as well, one of the big challenges with Taurus energy is the need for security. So Uranus and Gemini is giving us new ideas of how we can create security for ourselves, amongst many other things. And so when Uranus transits all the way, or retrogrades all the way back into Taurus, we can look at those things and we can again have another look at, is that going to work for me? Is that going to be what I really want? And is this what I can move forward with at this time? So enjoy this transit, and I'll be back to talk to you again soon. Bye.